Hello, how are you? I continue experimenting with some UI generating stuff, specifically, well, look here in the select card section. As I press something over here, you see there's some form generated for us. We can kinda enter a title. It matches this quant trident shirts. There's 100% cotton. This is the data from here, and the text from here, man, woman, blah, blah. Also, when I press here, it doubles all the information from here. It has some validation that it shouldn't be more than 15 characters. Cool. It has some helper text, and also it's not supposed to be empty, right? So it's cool. Well, this portion of things I have created with React, but this stuff is actually generated for me, and this is just a template from Bootstrap to just have a visual representation similar to some admin panel. Well, I am using JSON Forms for my site panel on the right, and in these examples on their website, they do show that you could have layout for the form, but in this particular example, I cannot actually always rely in admin panels that my UI will be always specified. I know the fields, and just like in Figma, when you click on stuff, you just want to enter stuff. But yeah, this is just throwing out there. So let's look at some data. So the card thing that you saw in here, which is rendered here, is just a simple React component, and it shows just this data. So this is our data that we kind of can edit. Control O, and the interesting part with UI generating is I am using JSON Forms library with, of course, React renderer, and I did use vanilla renderer. So JSON Forms has Angular material, React material, and React vanilla, just plain CSS renderers. And initially, I really wanted to see how can I create custom renderers for my inputs. So if I remove the cells and custom renderers, I guess the UI will be a bit uglier, because this is just plain CSS, whatever vanilla renderer had, and I didn't port their renderers, so I made my own renderers. So yeah, back to being pretty. And I have two schemas. So for the crumbs, it's just this type array with items of strings, and this is that. So yeah, I didn't override this renderer, but it looks fine, right? And at least it's something to begin working with. And for the cards, for this form to show, it's an object where the properties are a title of string with a description, a card title, which is automatically displayed as helper text. Max length is internal JSON schema validation for the input, which JSON Forms handles. There's subtitle, text, link, and link to. And I've got this a set of required things just in order for this to show that this field is required. I wanted to show how I restyled those items. I actually went ahead and literally copied. Okay, let's close that. Since I'm in vanilla renderers, I installed vanilla renderers package for JSON Forms to render the pure CSS HTML forms. I just went ahead and copied their cell, which is a singular item to represent just the input. In this context, it's text, which is the only thing I needed for my form to render at this moment. And I went ahead and just changed their style. So in my case, so yeah, I copied the text cell and I went ahead and copied the bootstraps style so it looks a bit nicer. Right, so it looks like bootstrap style with all the highlighting and the hover stuff. And I didn't put much effort into it other than styling, but you could see that you've got a bunch of stuff going on. You could gracefully use the way you like the handle change thing to lift the current value up. And that's so that's my text cell, and of course I had to increase the rank of my cell so that it has more priority when rendering, and it's for string, so just copy pasting stuff works for me. So in original it was rank 1 and I set it to rank 2. So that's how I styled the text thing, and the actual input, the all layout was text and input and helper text. Also a copy paste of renderers. So go to definition. I copy pasted everything from, well, not text cell, from source render. Where the hell is controls? Yeah, from controls I went into input control. So this is the entire file. I did remove this thing to represent my classes. So yeah, it renders a div with the label, and the dispatch cell is a cell that we have overridden with a rank of 2, and the helper text shown here. And as you can see, it's pretty much the same. And as a matter of fact, yeah, this is not used, so I can remove it and save it. And so whenever there's just an info, the bootstrap style is form text, and when there's an error, I show the danger. And this is what it is happening here. So this is the danger of bootstrap text class, and this is my helper text, and there's a validation from JsonSchema, which is picked up automatically by the library, and we've got our danger text style again. What's interesting in here? So again, I made some margin between the items so that fields are not way too close. Dispatch cell is again the input that the cell that I showed before, and there's our error. And again, just in order for the renderer of JsonSchema to see that our overridden component is way more important, you just increase the rank from 1 to 2. which is what we did. And as you can see in the original, they have rank 1, and you can define whether you want to override it with a higher rank. That's pretty much it. Actually, yeah, this is a response to one of my viewers before, where I had material design renderers set up, and yeah, their default material UI renderer has lines underneath, and somebody wanted to have like outline of the entire thing with a label, like they wanted to have a border. And this is my answer pretty much to how would you override or create a different style for your custom inputs. You just go into your preferred renderers that you selected. In my case this time, I wanted to have Bootstrap renderer, Bootstrap styles, and for that I just needed to copy a bunch of files from vanilla renderers. But for your case, of course, it could be, well, material renderer. And if you had a material UI input text or text input, whatever they call it, yeah, material text control, I guess you would go in here and you would see this, and apparently it's taking stuff from MUI controls. All right, let's actually go up and see MUI controls. Yeah, so they have controls re-exported, and okay, input text. So what do they do? All right, so there's a bunch of stuff that you have seen with default vanilla renderer. You've got a bunch of stuff for handle change again. All these default stuff that you could pretty much copy. And input, they have type checkers. All right. Where is the variant? Material UI has variants too. Well, you get the point. You just copy stuff and you you set up stuff that you actually want, which is what software developer job is all about. You copy stuff and you make it work for your client. In my case, again, this is just a template copied from Bootstrap. I made it work for me, and whenever I click somewhere, I just send information like data that is displayed here, and the tag of yeah, let's go back. All I do is I just have an event listener. I check for the type of renderer I want to have, like not renderer, a schema. And from schema variants by type, I see, all right, if it's a card, I use a schema card, which is again just this JSON schema. And for breadcrumbs, it's just array of strings. All I need to see on the screen. Zero custom logic written for property editing. I'm not propagating data back over here because it wasn't something I was interested in, but I did want to see how I would go about kind of customizing this thing for my use cases. All right, I hope this was informative enough for you. Sorry for not live coding, but this is the stuff I already had. I just wanted to show how I go about customizing views or inputs for automatic UI generating stuff. So one code to rule them all, and you throw a bunch of configs to render all of it and do all the important stuff for you, including error validation. And this error validation is again transferable. You use it for UI rendering, and you use it for backend side validation of data that you could actually send to this system, which is great. All right, see you next time.